Everybody on here coming to you with this month's video, and this month I'm talking about the art of flow. And if it's a little dark on part of me, I apologize. I have fortunately been very blessed to make it through the floods here in Maine very well, very safely, which has been just I don't know, a divine blessing, whatever you want to say, divine protection standing over me. 3 blocks south of me, there was flooding. 3 blocks, I shouldn't say south, but 3 blocks below me, there was flooding. 3 blocks above me, there was flooding. And yet I was protected in my one little space here. Many areas around here were really hit hard. But not to dwell on that, but it brought up a really good topic. It brought up a really good topic, and I'm still waiting for power to come on here, and so it's not really necessarily safe to be out right now, and it's not, so I'm working with what I have, as we say. And that's a good thing. That's what we want to do in life. When life throws us some challenges, you work with what you have and you make it work, and you keep moving forward. You don't let it become a huge interruption in your life. And that is one of the core aspects here, because what I'm talking about in this month's video has to do with fluidity and being able to redirect things. It's all about learning how to stay in the flow and honoring being in the flow no matter what comes up. So like in my personal codes this year, and by the way, if you're not familiar with my work, I authored this book every year, The Code Journey. Every year a new edition comes out. This is 2024. So you can always check that out at compassioncodes.com. And that's got insights for the year and great, just great options for getting through life. Maneuvering life on earth is what it's all about. And so when I go into this work and we start to look at flow, it's one of the most valuable things that we can do, because a lot of times challenges come up in life, whether they're challenges like, just a store not having what we want, something small like that, to floods, natural disasters, things that happen in life that we have absolutely no control over whatsoever. And most things that come in and interrupt us, we don't. I mean, certainly there are those things that we do create. There's a lot of things that we don't create in life. And we're living in times where these challenges are going to keep coming at us. It's just part of the times that we live in. We don't want to deny that. We don't want to ignore it. We don't want to brush it off as if it's not happening. We want to look at it and say, okay, this is happening. We had this interruption. We've been without power for a couple of days. A lot of our roads shut down and parts of roads collapsed and things like that. But that doesn't have to completely interfere with everything. That doesn't mean that we can't do anything whatsoever. And that's a big piece. So one of my core tools that I work with is when I can't do one thing, I do something else. And a perfect example of that right now, and this is all part of flow, because what happens is these different challenges come up and they want to interrupt our flow. They want to interrupt the direction that things are going. They want to interfere with us in some way. And again, some of this is just natural life things that happen. They're not there to attack us. Other things, maybe they are deliberate intents that are happening, and that's individual things. Certainly, there's only so much control you're going to have over Mother Nature, and whatever your opinion is on that, the reality of it is you're in a situation, right? I'm in a flood situation. I'm in a situation where we're dealing with these things. So when this stuff goes down, so the last couple of days I've not had internet to work with. I've been doing the best working from my phone and things like that, which doesn't always have the capability that my computer does to do things. So it's a little more challenging for me. But I can either say, oh, well, poor me. I could go into a pity space and say, I can't work on this client's work. I can't do certain things. I can't handle anything. Now I'm just going to have to sit here and do nothing. Well, that's a real victim space, and that energy is what will interrupt our flow. However, if we say, well, you know what, I can't do this work for the client, but what I can do is I can sit down and make my notes and cut my videos because that is not reliant on the internet, and it's not reliant on power, and it's not reliant on other things. Or I will turn my attention and say, well, what is this opportunity presenting me? I may not be able to do all these other things, but guess what? Now I have a little downtime. Like yesterday, I had a little downtime. It's like, oh, I can go for a walk. I can go explore some things that I wouldn't normally do. I mean, come on, how many of you out there sit down and go, man, if I just had a little time to do something, if I just had a little spare time in my life, I would do this and I would do that. And yet when we're presented with those times and opportunities in unexpected ways, like with weather patterns, we don't take advantage of them. And here again, we interrupt that flow. We allow ourselves to be interrupted. And instead, if we took hold and said, oh, this is a time for me, I can, I've got my power bank so I can recharge my phone, and here's a great time for me to catch up on some phone calls or some messages with some people, or to sit down and have conversations and to have a family night and to gather around the fireplace and play some games and do things together instead of all being attached to our electronics. I mean, really, electronics are a huge addiction these days. We don't even realize it. We just go to the electronics and we don't communicate. And so this is a big piece of this whole aspect of the art of flow. And flow is what allows us to move challenging and unfavorable circumstances into favorable patterns. So where I've been down for, without power for a couple of days, without internet for a couple of days and things like that. And I sat down and I said, okay, well, this morning, this is what I'm going to work on. This is what I'm going to do. And of course, if there's an energetic thing trying to block me in some way, what is it going to do? Well, okay, here's your power back because I don't want you working on that. But likewise, see, I don't allow it to interrupt my life. And that's a big key. That's a really big key in moving through things. And then I'm continuing to get that feeling of productivity. I'm continuing to get that feeling of, okay, this doesn't have to totally disturb my life. And yet at the same time, I'm also honoring, okay, when the sun goes down, I'm going to get a little more rest. I'm going to be more in my reflective space. It's a great opportunity for me to reflect and pray on things that I haven't, been able to focus on as much, and to maybe make some breakthroughs on things and get some understanding about things that I haven't stopped long enough to get that understanding on. So it's always a blessing. If we look at these challenges as a blessing and we say, what's my opportunity in here? What does this give me the opportunity to do when I can't do these other things? You're going to keep making this forward momentum. You're going to keep making this forward movement that is going to keep propelling you towards a favorable direction. And when you come out of the challenges, like when power gets restored, and when these things come back up, you're ready to go. You're not feeling the stress and the tension in the same way. You've again accomplished things, you've managed things, and that's what's happening for me. And this looking at it from this aspect, this embracing every challenge is an opportunity. One of the things I've learned along the way is I stop having so many challenges in my life, even things like flooding and big storms that come my way, because I sit back and go, okay, well, I'm always going to have a little bit of, chia seeds on hand or pumpkin seeds on hand, and a few things that are always going to carry me through in an emergency. If I can't get to food, if I can't get to a couple of things, I always have some core things with me that don't take up a lot of space, that don't require refrigeration. As long as I can get to water, I'm good. And these are the things that set us up. So when we're doing this and we're keeping this flow going, we naturally create divine protection around us. We naturally are cared for. So when things go down, we don't stress the same way other people do. For me, I haven't stressed through any of this. Maybe some people around me have, but I haven't. Because I keep saying, oh, this is an opportunity to do this. This is an opportunity to do that. And I change and redirect my thoughts. I change it and I stay fluid. Okay, well, I can do this, and then when the power comes back up, I can go back to this other thing. So this fluidity, this redirecting ability, and I encourage you to practice this under less intense conditions than what I'm in, but to practice it even with the small things when they're not that critical in life. Now, some of our codes coming in January deal with some of this aspect, because one of the things is that in January, the code energy is about things not being able to be rushed or forced. And so when that energy is present, being able to be fluid, being able to redirect, being able to do those things allows us to remain in this flow, to work with divine timing, because a lot of times we're trying to force things to happen in our timing, in material world timing, and not divine timing. So here again, it's kind of like I'm now in divine flow because God says, no, I think I want you to get this video out. I think I want you to do these things. So let's hold the power out a little bit longer. Maybe that's the case, maybe not the case. But hey, some of those things, it puts me in that space. And then again, it puts me in flow. And once I'm in flow, everything opens up again. And so you just keep moving with it. That is divine timing in there. It also helps us to find peace with what we are doing and continuing to have a positive impact through consciousness and awareness. So if we allow ourselves to get caught off guard, if we allow ourselves to be so set that things have to be a certain way, or we have to do something, or we can't do other things until we do this one thing, then we're not really working from a very conscious space. We're working from a very closed, structured mindset. And when we open up to this flow and this fluidity, and we allow ourselves to redirect into what we can do instead of focusing on what we can't do, then what we do is we're operating more through consciousness, through awareness, like, okay, this doesn't work, so I'm going to do this. It's no different than saying, if this store is closed right now, I need to go to another store. It's really about that simple in things. But this consciousness of saying, okay, this doesn't have to stop me. This doesn't have to be a block for me. Coming into this awareness of, even if I can't do this, I can do this other thing over here. I can work on this other piece of things. And no, maybe I can't do it at night, but I can do it during the day. And so this is really a very powerful piece in our life. It's a very powerful piece to keep us connected in divine alignment and aware of things. And again, keeping our mindset in what is possible versus what is not working. And that, again, that's not ignoring. I'm not ignoring the fact the power is off. I can't ignore the fact that the power is off. But it doesn't have to be a block for me in things. Also in here, we want to be willing to honor the stagnant periods. Sometimes we're gifted with these periods unexpectedly, unknowingly, unplanned. And we're wanting to move forward, and we're wanting to make progress, but things are not moving in that direction. And these stagnant periods are such a gift. A lot of people don't feel comfortable in them. That's, understandable. They are constantly on the go to go do whatever, got to be constantly active in something. I've come to really love those stagnant periods. I don't get bored in them like a lot of people do, but that's because I'm always redirecting. That's because I'm always looking at, well, what can I do? What is possible? And I like to honor the stagnant periods. Again, going, wow, this gives me time to think about some things. This gives me the opportunity to catch my breath, take a break, get a little extra rest. I mean, all kinds of things that my body, my mind, whatever may really be needing, that I've been ignoring in my busyness or trying to accomplish things. So we really have this opportunity to do this reflective work and to be in divine connection. And I encourage you, if you find yourself in these positions where things are stagnant, honor that. Honor that stillness. We sometimes think nothing is getting done in the stillness, but I'll tell you, I have solved more issues and brought in more awareness through stillness than any activity. And it is important to embrace in there. Also, what this aspect of flow is doing for us, this aspect of redirecting and this fluidity is doing for us, is it is also helping us to create balance and harmony. And this is especially true with our conflicts within and without. And again, this is another piece in our January codes coming up, that we want to be in this balance and this harmony. But if we're trying to force our will our way, instead of coming into the divine alignment, instead of being in the flow and redirecting things, then we are we're going to get lost in those conflicts, and we're going to feel the conflict within ourselves, and we're going to feel the conflict with others coming up in there. So this is a huge, huge piece, again, in helping us to get through things. It's a huge piece in resolving conflicts. It's a huge piece in resolving the blocks in things. So I encourage you to take that time, and if you feel blocked, if you feel restricted, if you feel that something is not working, if you find that you can't do something that you want to do, stop and ask yourself, what can I do with this? Or what do I need to reflect on with this? It was put right in my face this morning with the codes when I was reading the daily codes, and it's like, yep, this is these things you're dealing with are connected to spiritual processes. So I sat down and I said, okay, I have cleansing aspects going on, I have water energy going on, I have floods going on. I started looking at the codes connected to those things, and I'm like, okay, what's this all connecting with? And really what it came down to is, in a nutshell, it came down to cleaning or cleansing materialism, which is a big, big piece that's happening in our world right now. We're cleansing and needing to cleanse a lot of materialism energy out so that we can step into spirit. So that's what I've got for you this month. I hope you guys maneuver your way through January. I know the times are not always easy, but they can be full of so many blessings if you let them do that. And again, don't forget to pick up your copy of the 2024 book right here. You can check it out. Oops, I think I had that upside down. There we go. You can check it out on my website, compassioncodes.com, and the links to get you directly to the pages are there. So take care, and I will see you in the new year.